Hi folks, it's me again, and in this lecture I'm going to be talking about assessments and the supporting technology that you'll use to create assessments. And by assessments, of course, I'm talking about quizzes, exams, or assignments. So, the overriding objective to creating quiz or exam type of assessments is to make them as flexible and scalable as possible using whatever technology is available to you. By flexibility and scalability, what I'm talking about is creating your questions and answers so that if you need to make a change, let's say a small change, you want to redeploy a test that you gave last semester, but this semester I'm going to make it a little bit different. You want to have made your assessments originally to be able to make those changes at the drop of a hat. You know as well as I do that creating a quiz or exam is a labor-intensive process to begin with. Conceptually coming up with the right questions and answers and phrasing them in a concise and clear way and all that kind of stuff is hard enough. But when you're dealing with technology and you have to make slight changes, you certainly don't want to have to reconstruct. So by scalability, you also want to use your technology that's available to you to make your assessments as usable in the future as they are now. So keeping in mind those concepts of flexibility and scalability, I'm going to talk a little bit about the way I encourage folks to create their assessments using, in this case it'll be, let's say Blackboard. You'll be developing your assessments in Blackboard for this class, and you may have already done so. That being said, the development of assessments is basically 3 stages. So you want to think in terms of 3 parts to creating an assessment. Number 1, you want to create a pool of questions. Okay, a pool of questions. So let's say today I add 10 questions to that pool. I have in mind that over the coming months, and in fact over the coming years, I might add questions to that pool. So in 2 years, I may have added 50 questions to that pool. Now I have, 60 total. Do those questions in that pool have a point value? Well, no they don't, because that pool serves as a repository from which you will draw questions to create a test. So not knowing how many questions will be in whatever test you're going to build, how can you ascribe a point value to your questions in a pool? Well, you can't. If, for example, you ascribed a 2-point value to your questions in the pool, what happens if you draw 5 questions from that pool? Well, then it's only worth 10 points. Let's say next semester you want to draw 7 questions from that pool. Well, now the test is worth 14 points, a very odd kind of point value, total point value for your test. The issue here is at the pool stage, that's stage number 1, you're adding questions, maybe you're deleting questions as things become obsolete, and you're not at this point ascribing point values. What you are doing at this point is you're telling your course management system, Blackboard in this case, things like, let me allow images to be displayed within my questions, or let me allow students to attach files as part of the answer to this question. Those kinds of things. So let's move on to stage 2. I've already alluded to it, and that would be actually creating a test. The test stage, stage 2, involves drawing questions from your pool. Doesn't that make sense? Conceptually, that's so far so good, I hope. So at this stage, you're telling your course management system how many questions or which questions you want to draw from that pool, and, for example, what point value each question is worth. Okay, so that's a whirlwind tour of stage 1 and stage 2. You've got your pool that you can fiddle with whenever your heart desires. You've got your test now. You can draw, by the way, randomly from your pool, or you can tell your course management system, I want to select these specific questions from this specific pool. Okay? So stage 3 is, fancy word, alert, is deployment. Stage 3 is, where shall I put this test in my course management system or in my Blackboard site? Should I put it in an area called syllabus? Doesn't make any sense. Should I put it in an area called course documents? Not so good either. Should I put it in an area called assessments? Well, yeah, of course. So you would go to your assessments area in your course management system, whatever that course management system is, and you would add the test there. Now at this stage, you're going to tell your course management system different kinds of things. For example, sometimes you might tell your course management system that you would like students to be able to take this test 3 times as a practice, and then perhaps give the students feedback in the form of just a score. Or you might select give the students feedback in the form of a score and some of the comments I made in feedback. Okay, so we've got 3 stages here: pools, tests, and deployment. If you take shortcuts, your flexibility and scalability are going to be compromised. So put the effort in advance, and in the long run, you're going to be saving yourself some time, and you'll be making more effective assessments for your students.